Yeah, man! Serious times down in Johannesburg. Watch the fire now. Listen! The horns! Oh, yeah. The stage was set, the lights were low for the big G20 show. Leaders coming from across the sea to talk about the world economy. Johannesburg was dressed to impress, ready to clean up the global mess. But before the first gavel could sound, a different kind of noise started going around. Now everybody talking about Cyril's big blunder. He lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. The Kineon see politicians step up to the mic, spewing out words that nobody like. They open their mouths and the fire jump out, insulting America, scream and shout. They're telling tall tales, they're telling the lies, right there under the African skies. And the media catch it, they run with the ball, they amplify the noise until the whole thing fall off. Talking about Cyril's big blunder, he lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. Yeah. Watch the house of cards, they're tumbling over. Yeah, blow it down, what a mess. I look at the president sitting up high, I see that little twinkle in his eye. He cracking that smile, that devious grin, while the diplomatic ice is getting very thin. You think the eagle gonna take that heat? Nah, sir, they won't take a seat. No Uncle Sam at your Josie party. You chase them away, you're acting too hearty. It's Cyril's big blunder, he lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. Yeah, yeah, they staying away America now come to Johannesburg today. You set the house on fire, man, what kind of plan? Cyril, wipe that smile off your face. It's a disgrace. No, sir. No, sir.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Oh yeah, Cyril's big blunder. Hey, crazy things happening down in Joburg this week. Welcome back to the program, folks, on a Sunday edition of Chris Wyatt Reports. Sunday, November 23rd of Chris Wyatt, the 2025th. And we're waiting for England and Argentina to get started here momentarily. Guys, okay, I'm going to boast. I got to do this first before we talk about the G20 and everything else. But I mean, after getting the wooden spoon last week, I had to have a good comeback. I had to do something to fix last week. Let me just show you this. Okay, let me just show you. It's before the England game, so it could go a little sideways after the England game. But let me just show you my super brew from yesterday. You ready for this? You just don't see this very often. I mean, you gotta just get it right. All right, so this is from yesterday's super brew. Check it out. Green, 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 green. Oh, the grass is greener on Chris's super brew this weekend. Only my flyer on Spain beating Fiji went wrong. I got the bonus point, the match point, the winning point. Japan by 7 over Georgia. Uruguay by 10 over Romania. New Zealand by 24 over Wales, and I hit it. Portugal by 5 over Canada, South Africa by 10 over Ireland, Italy by 10 over Chile, France by 12 over Australia, and I got it. Oh yeah. Cyril's big blunder, but Chris got it right this weekend. I only do that because I got the wooden spoon last week when I took too many flyers. I took too many chances. Maybe this will move me back up. But man, that wooden spoon is going to cost me the championship anyway. Lucy wants to ask if we can take a moment of silence for her mother who just passed away. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Lucy. We can't take a moment just for your mom. Folks. Lucy, to your mom. Fair winds and smooth sailing. Rest in peace. Sorry to hear about that, Lucy. Yep. Sad part of life. Cousin in Australia who's normally ill. He's terminally ill. Oh, okay. Well, shout out to Don van Janssen van Rensburg's cousin out there in Australia. Yeah, that's a tough one. Well, folks, welcome back to the program on a Sunday. Thanks for being here. Thank you to those who've become rather loyal viewers for the live streams of late. I really do appreciate it. The live streams have seen a nice bump the past 2 weeks, and I'm not sure what that is, but thank you for that. It really does make it fulfilling. By the way, all the difference in the world, the more people watch the videos. I mean, these people that have millions of viewers just must be raking in the cash. Because, I mean, I see a significant bump in ad revenue when the numbers go up. When I have an average of 500 or more live stream viewers, but more importantly, when I have 100,000 plus viewers per day on my videos, I see ad revenue climb to a level that makes it worthwhile to do it. For financial reasons, worthwhile. Yeah, it's there you go. So welcome on a Sunday, the 23rd. Oh, did you guys see Sleepy Joe? Yeah, Sleepy Joe's back there. See Sleepy Joe with his nightcap on? He kind of looks like he's drunk back there. Sleepy Joe came. By the way, nobody said anything about my hat yet, have they? No one's noticed my hat. 250 years, 1776 to 2026. Yes, 250 years of these United States. Well, folks, welcome back. Let's get into it. We're going to talk a lot about G20 today, and some of it's going to be good news, some of it's going to be silly news. But let me just start with my opening monologue here. The South African G20 summit was always going to be a success. No matter what happened or didn't happen, it was always going to be a success. Why is that? Because regardless of the situation in South Africa, the media would have carried the water for South Africa, and South Africa's friends who are betraying America in France and the UK and elsewhere would have given top cover to South Africa. So it was always going to be a success. So anyone in the media claiming that this is an amazing summit that the South Africans pulled off despite Trump is smoking their socks. It was never going to be anything but a success. Having said that, it's not a success. It's not even remotely a success. This is a gab fest that is going to produce virtually zero outcomes. And a year from now, 2 years, 3 years from now, we'll hear bitching and moaning from Africa about, well, what about us? Where the G20 promised us. And all these countries, G20, are going to have egg on their face when they don't deliver. Because none of them ever deliver. With the exception of the European Union giving $350 million of the $711 million to Aspen Pharmacare to produce COVID jabs, they've done virtually nothing for Africa. Europe doesn't give Africa duty-free access to its marketplace. Only the United States that China doesn't give Africa duty-free access to marketplace. They have, in fact, the highest tariffs in the world possible on African products. Only the United States gave African countries 25 years of duty-free access to our marketplace, and we were treated like shit. No other country in the world has produced the amount of money that we've produced to fight HIV. The rest of the world likes to claim credit for the Global Fund, but the Global Fund is heavily funded by Microsoft, which comes from Americans who pay Microsoft for their garbage software in our PCs. It's been funded by American philanthropists for the most part, the Global Fund. And HIV under PEPFAR has been paid for by the U.S. There is no British PEPFAR program. There's no German PEPFAR program. There's no Japanese PEPFAR. There's sure as hell no Chinese PEPFAR program. The Chinese never spent a single penny to stop 8.5 million South Africans from dying from HIV. But the Americans spent $8.1 billion. Yes. You see, we actually do, they say. And the G20 will be a perfect example of they say, they don't do. Because we do, they say. The United States puts its money where its mouth is. We patrol the global sea lanes with our military, costing us $1 trillion a year in defense costs to ensure that ships get through the sea so that you have food and you have products and you have electronics you need for your life to survive. We do that at no charge to the world. $1 trillion. We police the miscreants of the world like Iran, building nuclear weapons to murder people in the Middle East. We do that. We are the ones who put North Korea back in a box, not the rest of the world. The rest of the world sits by and lets the entire global system collapse, while China rises and menaces its neighbors and attacks Japanese and Filipino ships and Coast Guard ships in the South China Sea and the East China Sea. That is China that does that threatens the global order. China that cuts off the rare earth element supply, while media around the world talk about how great China is, especially the media, the capture media in China's major colony in Africa, also known as Republic of South Africa, the Chinese colony in Africa. Yeah, these media who cover for this as the world tilts towards an autocratic fascist regime. Meanwhile, they constantly call Donald Trump an autocrat and a fascist when he's anything but. He obeys the orders of courts, even though the courts are corrupt. He does not exceed his authority, even though the left is claiming he exceeds his authority. The world is upside down. Truth is fact and fiction is truth. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Meanwhile, South Africa continually spends weeks, months, years insulting the United States, calling America racist, calling our president the leader of a global white supremacist movement, and then just days before the summit is going, calls the president a white supremacist on CNN. And then they have and then laughing at the president and mocking the president in their meetings. And then they have the audacity to claim that they're the victims, that they are the ones that, despite the abuses. Peter Bruce in the Financial Times running a comment saying that, oh, well, Trump, is temper tantrums. The temper tantrums are coming from South Africa. The fact that esteemed, intelligent, articulate, smart people like Peter Bruce can't see that shows you how deep in the tank the leftists are for the disorder of the globe. They are in the global disorder. That's what they're all about. Upsetting the global order, which has made billions of people wealthier, lifted billions of people out of abject poverty. That's what they want to upset. They want to destroy the world order that lifted so many people out of poverty and delivered a modern way of life that is so much better. Constant carping and moaning and lying. They want to return to the days of the 1930s, the dark days, when the Soviet Union rounded up peasants and put them in concentration camps and murdered them and stole their property from them, calling them wealthy capitalists when they had 2 goats and a chicken. Utter ridiculous nonsense. We shall not return to the days of Soviet oppression. We have it in Venezuela, in Cuba, in South Africa, and in China, and elsewhere around the world. Venezuela, these countries that are rogue states, states like South Africa that supply military hardware against UN-sanctioned warlords in Libya, states like South Africa which violate the Human Rights Declaration, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which they're signatory to, the country that abrogates property rights in violation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a rogue nation that's out of control, has the audacity to sit and play the victim when they oppress and abuse. No, not the case. Enough of this nonsense. It's time for clear thinking and realistic options from the world. It's time to stand up to the oppressors in the media, to the oppressors in the offices of heads of state, to the oppressors running political parties around the world, to the oppressors in these corporate boardrooms who happily sit back and allow global trafficking of humans and of goods because they profit from it. It is time for the people to stand together. Whether they're on the left or right of the political spectrum, whether in the center, it does not matter. We are being oppressed by a global order of globalist elites, and only a handful of people stand in revulsion at that. Only a handful of people stand against this oppression. Only a handful of people stand for the people. And you know who I'm talking about. And that's my monologue. Crazy world, folks. We're living in a crazy world. So let's talk about the G20 very quickly here. So it's the G14 as global leaders failed to show up. President Donald Trump, of course, famously did not go. Argentina's Javier Milei, China's Xi Jinping did not go. Russia's Vladimir Putin did not go. Nigeria's Tinubu did not go. And Mexico's Claudia Sheinbaum did go. Surprisingly for me, if anybody else was going to back out, it would have been Italy, Meloni, or South Korea, neither of whom backed out. I don't know where you're getting those figures. The budget was $700 million, but they blew $4 billion. Is that for the whole year? I wouldn't be surprised. And now the G20 has been turned into the begging bowl for African despots and autocrats. That's what we're talking about. And we are not going to give money to autocrats anymore. That's not going to happen. So let's get on to the story of what's happening today. Lots of news to cover. I have other obligations of my time today, including helping with the Veterans Organization for a big fundraiser setting up for Wednesday evening. So after the news, I'll be out here, but I'll be back in time for the Cafe Clutch for the refugees. I haven't set that up to link. I should do that before I leave here. I hadn't thought about that. Just so busy doing so many things. I got to tell you, folks, I was knackered, completely knackered last night. And I drifted off when I came back last night after running around doing things. And then G13. Thank you very much for that 40 Rand, Fabian. I can't disagree. Weird thing there, it gave me two of the same thing. Huh. Hopefully you get directed to the right broadcast. Heard Thursday, 7:02, that Javier in Trump's pocket. Sure, it's not true. No, they're just very close friends. That doesn't mean they're in the pocket. 7 being blown, they had already taken 1.5 from the city of Joburg for the G20. I'm not surprised. So, this like was for the coffee. Okay, thank you for that. And thank you, Bonnie Duplessis, for the 40 Rand super chat. A couple little super chats coming in. The clouds are gathering. Yep. The clouds are gathering. Still rugby. No, I'm not. Rugby Ascendant is actually going to be on right now. That game is about to start at Twickenham. They are just moments away. That's the game. Get ready to start. I've picked England because they've won 10 in a row. Watch them screw me and lose. Watch them screw me. Do you think the long-term impact of the Walmart launch in South Africa will be no jobs in local markets? No. Why would there be no jobs in local markets? I don't think so. The tuck shops and spazas are not going away. Dirk Coetzee with 10 euros says Trump overshadowed G20 by announcing the proposed Ukraine-Russia peace deal a few days ago. All EU leaders just wanted to get back to Brussels. Exactly. It was a masterstroke by Trump, but the media are not portraying it as such, and we're going to talk about that. How's my bet with Arctic going? Very well, James. Although I miss Starbucks, and every time I go by the local supermarket, which has a Starbucks inside it, I realize that I can't go. And, I could have had a Jamocha shake at Arby's yesterday when I went to get a donation, and it was so tempting to get a Jamocha shake. Even though it wasn't banned and it wasn't part of the deal, I felt it would have been cheating because it's a chocolatey, coffee sort of flavored thing, and I thought that would be cheating, so I didn't get one. It's not a struggle, but it's certainly something that I'm aware of because I'm so accustomed to drinking that stuff that many, many times, at least 15 times so far, probably more, I've wanted to go and grab something and I didn't. It was smart to take the Starbucks out of my little university fridge that's across from behind the screen here because when I reach in there for a drink, I can't mistakenly grab a Starbucks and be absent-minded and start drinking it. So I miss the Starbucks and because I love that sugar and milk. So drinking the tea all the time is getting a bit old, but we'll see. So, the bet's going well. Today is, 23 days and -5, so 18 days, over halfway through the period. Why does America keep sending support and so forth? South Africa just gets away with all disrespect. What support is America sending? There's no support coming to South Africa. The foreign aid of $500 million a year has been suspended. We're no longer sending any money to South Africa. We excluded South Africa from the latest trial for the latest HIV drug that's come out. It's gone to other countries in Africa, not to South Africa. So I'm not really sure what support you're talking about. Thank you, Dylan. It's easy to change habits. That's why I tell people it's easy to do. When the baton is handed over on its way to the embassy, so will be kicked out of the G20. I don't know if he can kick him out. I don't know if that's possible. Don't put the same thing in there, Neil, please. That becomes a bit of attention seeking. Either I'll see your comment or I won't see it. Okay. Yeah, they portrayed Ramaphosa as a hero and Trump as a loser, but that's completely the opposite. So the people that believe in the media can believe media. But let's start our news off time. Folks, it's 20 after. Let's get into the news. Congratulations to Malcolm Marks, the World Rugby Player of the Year. Huzzah, huzzah. Yes, congratulations. Once again, the Springboks take it. The World Rugby Player of the Year is Malcolm Marks. Oh, man, and well-deserved, well-deserved. Bongambanambi is also in consideration, as well as Peter Steph Dutoy, a two-time winner, but it went to Malcolm Marks. Ladies and gentlemen, the Springboks just keep on winning. All they do is win, win, win. Marks crowned World Rugby Player of the Year. Double Rugby World Cup winning Springbok hooker Malcolm Marx became the fourth South African to be crowned the World Rugby Man's 15th Player of the Year on Saturday at an historic occasion. Fourth. Maybe it's the fourth that got it twice, but not the fourth one to get it. Winning, with Springboks winning 2 awards back-to-back first time in history, which is also not true. They've won it twice in a row before, but that was the same player. So now 2 different players. The 31-year-old has been a key figure in Springboks in the line-out scrums and in general play this year. Scooped the award for the first time after being dominated alongside his teammates Du Toit. Yep. Wait a second. Is he... Oh, World Cup win. Yeah, okay. He's won the award once. Excuse me. So, other South Africans received nominations. Okay, they didn't win. Okay, so there's been 18 nominations. Okay, that's nominations. He won the award. He was nominated in 2018. It's 3 South Africans who've been nominated for South African Player of the Year and for World Rugby Player of the Year. Yep, there you go, folks. Of course, Peter Steph Du Toit has won it twice. So there you go. Congratulations. Incredible stuff. Here you go. This is a nice image right here. Malcolm Marx joins an elite group of players as a World 15 Player of the Year. Another South African wins it. Incredible stuff. Incredible work. Well, Ireland, their yellow cards and ill discipline cost them dearly in a game that South Africa should have won by 40 points, but did not quite pull it off. 24-13 is the final score as the Springboks win at Aviva Stadium for the first time since 2012. Rossi Erasmus' first victory ever in Dublin. They ended the 13-year-old drought with a win in Dublin. This was a game the Springboks could and should have won by 30, and as humbling as defeat will be for Andy Farrell's side, they showed remarkable resilience to bring this game the distance. Indeed, they never gave up. They never gave up. 19-7 at the halftime, and the Springboks win it 24-13. Well, as was mentioned by one of my viewers a moment ago, Donald Trump has stolen all the thunder from Ramaphosa's G20 summit. Now, South African media and people in South Africa might think that all the attention is focused on G20, but no, the attention quickly shifted to Ukraine and Donald Trump's 28-point plan for Ukraine. And we see a statement coming from South Africa, a mealy-mouthed statement, but then we see the true effort going on in Europe, and let's talk about that. So here we go. The New York Times says G20 leaders push back on U.S. peace plan for Ukraine. In a joint statement, the leaders reaffirmed their commitment to Ukraine, which faces a prospect of losing American support if it rejects the latest proposal. So there's Ursula von der Leyen hanging out with Cyril Ramaphosa and Antonio Costa, President of the European Council. Leaders of some of the world's most powerful countries push back on demands Ukraine cede territory and limit the size of its army in President Trump's latest proposal to end the war with Russia. But they said they believe the plan provided a basis for further negotiations. It made unclear how much wiggle room Ukraine and its European allies would have to change the proposal. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Steve Witkoff, President Trump's special envoy, will head to Geneva today, where they're expected to meet senior Ukrainian officials and discuss Kiev's response to the American proposal. Even before the latest proposals made public this week, Ukraine's allies in Europe and across the globe face pressure to show they could get Ukraine the economic and military support it needs to continue battling Russia should the U.S. cease its contributions. Germany, which has already pledged Ukraine's largest military backer in Europe, this month pledged an additional $3.5 billion assistance for next year, and France and Sweden recently pledged hundreds of new fighter jets. So the EU is working against the United States for Ukrainian and Russian peace. Is that true? Well, the Epoch Times says, while this G20 so-called declaration, which doesn't include anything about Ukraine, U.S. and European officials are discussing the plan. Notice the news from the New York Times and the news from Epoch Times, completely different tenor in what's actually happening in this situation. Yes, European allies said they were not consulted while Washington was drafting the plan, leading to some confusion as to which parties were involved. Officials from the U.S., Europe, and Ukraine met in Geneva today to discuss Washington's plan to end the Ukraine war. President Trump said on the 21st, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had until Thursday, which, of course, this is the real news, not the G20. The real news is that Trump has come up with a plan to end the war, that Joe Biden and Jens Stoltenberg, the European Union, the Germans in Berlin, the French in Brussels, and the Brits in London have been pouring to the death of millions of people. They ghoulishly sit back and gleefully sell them weapons to murder each other while the war continues. Only one global leader has made a genuine effort to end this conflict. Cyril Ramaphosa famously going to Poland and then going with a detachment of dozens of armed agents carrying automatic weapons, crew-served weapons, which were not declared to the Poles. And then their silly little colored chief of police that went with them, or security guy, falsely claiming that the Poles are racist, because the only thing that the ANC understands is racism, because they think racism is everywhere. Do you know why? Because so many of them in the ANC are actually genuine racists who see the world through racial lens. And when the Poles uphold a diplomatic protocol, which the South Africans have violated repeatedly this week during the G20, announcing a declaration before the conference even began is a huge diplomatic breach, then insulting the senior U.S. diplomat in South Africa, an experienced, seasoned 30-year veteran of the diplomatic service, calling him a junior official. These are breaches of protocol in the Vienna Conventions that are unforgivable. They are disgusting. They are vile. And of course, on top of that, South Africa is shipping helicopters to a warlord in Libya. No discussion about that. No one in Parliament. Where is the Democratic Alliance on this issue? Where are they standing up against this? Aren't they the party that's always opposing these actions? Where is anybody in Parliament? Where is one person that's not a coward in the South African Parliament raising this issue on the floor of the Parliament, saying, why is our country violating United Nations sanctions and shipping war material to a Libyan warlord? Why are we doing this? Why is someone getting away with this in our name? Not a single parliamentarian amongst the 400 members of the cowardly parliament of South Africa said a damn thing about this. None of them stand up. Not a single media personality. Not a single esteemed elite editor. Adrien Basson, George Classon, Peter Dutoy. None of them. Not one of them standing up about this. Not one of them. Not one of them. Where are their voices while South Africa violates United Nations sanctions, while South Africa violates the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? And they all want to pretend that Donald Trump is the problem. Isn't it convenient for them? Who was their excuse when Joe Biden was there? They didn't have an excuse. And now they think the pressure is off of them because Donald Trump's the president. Well, the real negotiations for Ukraine are taking place in the halls of Washington, D.C., where Donald Trump is dictating the terms to the grifter-in-chief Volodymyr Zelensky, who refuses to end a war that he precipitated with his obnoxious behavior towards Putin. Putin is wrong. Putin is a war criminal. Putin is a shameful person. Putin does not deserve any ounce of sympathy or empathy whatsoever. But the problem is Ukraine. Well, Ramaphosa closes the G20 summit today with a promise to see world leaders next year. Okay. Cyril's going to see the leaders next year. Okay, sure. Debbie Fox, thank you for the 140 rand super chat. Clouds are gathering. So Cyril's going to be in Miami next year, is he? Ladies and gentlemen, it's November 23rd, 2025. When we get to November of 2026, let's revisit this story and see, in fact, if Cyril Ramaphosa is there. I will make this declaration. If Cyril Ramaphosa comes to the G20 next year in November, I will make a concerted effort to get press credentials to go there. Oh, my goodness. President Ramaphosa closed the high-stakes but successful G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg on Sunday without President Trump present for the handover. Still, he promised his peers that he would see them again at next year's summit in the U.S. He might be barred from coming here, buddy. Oof. The conclusion of the G20 summit comes amid an ongoing rift between the South Africans and the U.S. over false claims of Trump administration of white genocide. No, see, that's a lie. See, this is so dishonest. So I'm sorry, the Kukuleni Magubani. That is not the reason why the U.S. is not there. Are you not paying attention? I find it comical that the leftists continue to use the term white genocide. You see, they throw it out there and they blame Trump for it. And Trump foolishly answers a question about white genocide to reporters, and then he's accused of perpetrating the white genocide myth. Utter nonsense. By the way, some right-wing person commented on my channel, they're sick of me denying there's a white genocide. Well, I'm sorry if you don't like the fact that I stick to legal definitions. There is no such thing. There's a cultural genocide going on in South Africa. There's no doubt about that. And endlessly, if it's too nuanced for you, then I'm not going to apologize. I'm simply stating the facts. If it doesn't fit your worldview, I can't help that. If that offends you, then I guess you won't watch my program, and I'm sorry to hear that because you'll learn an awful lot watching this program. But there is a cultural genocide against the Afrikaans language and against the Afrikaans people. There's no doubt about that. There is unjust racial persecution against coloreds, Indians, and whites, and it harms all South Africans. But as far as an actual genocide, nobody is trying to exterminate a people. Nobody's trying to exterminate them. That is the layman's definition of a genocide. The same thing in Gaza. No one is trying to wipe out the Palestinians as a group of people. There are hundreds of millions of Arabs, and they're not being wiped out. So I'm sorry. No, I don't need to look at the definition again, Norman. I don't need to look at the definition again. It is not. You're going to try to wordsmith me here, and you're wrong. I never claimed it happened in one day. No one ever claimed that. But if you are going to make the argument that 4,000 murdered farmers and maybe 10,000 murdered 20,000 murdered Afrikaners by racists over 30 years is a genocide, the numbers don't add up. The numbers just don't add up. And even if Afrikaners are chased out of South Africa, they still exist around the world. Anyway. Holding a ceremonial gavel, Ramaphosa thanked his peers in the plenary hall for their participation in the summit and said he would see them at next year's G20 summit to take place in the U.S. Okay, let's move forward together, demonstrating to the world that we do have the capacity to confront and overcome the world's challenges. Through partnerships across society and by remembering our common humanity, we can create a more secure and more just and more prosperous world. No, you can't. No, you can't. We've tried this for a century. And autocrats, dictators, and evil people around the world in Cambodia, in Philippines, in Indonesia, well, not so much Indonesia, all over Africa, evil people in Latin America have proven that they come first and the people come second, over and over again, no matter what we do to try to save the world. So you can't save the world that way, Cyril. It's a pipe dream. You're living in a fantasy world. The White House says that South Africa has undermined the principles, the founding principles of G20, which in fact they have. They have. White House Saturday said South Africa was refusing to facilitate a smooth transition of the presidency of the Group of 20 to 20 major economies to the U.S. after G20 issued a declaration on climate change over U.S. objections. It wasn't just climate change. It's the beggar bowl for Africa. The purpose of G20 is not to be a debt relief club for deadbeat African borrowers who steal our money and then cry racism. Countries who steal our money and then cry racism. People make good faith efforts to loan them billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, which they squander, misuse, put in their own pockets, hide in the Cayman Islands, hide in the Channel Islands, hide in Luxembourg, hide in Austria, hide in Liechtenstein, hide in Swiss bank accounts. Yes, these people who steal and plunder while we give. And by the way, those loans are predominantly from private banks which we are customers of. When those banks don't get the money back, what do? They raise our fees and our interest rates so that we have to subsidize criminals in Africa and Latin America. So no. Debtors Club, deadbeat, begging bowl, sorry, not interested, enough of it. I've had enough of it. I've spent decades living in Africa, and I've seen exactly what goes on there. So you're not going to snow me with this nonsense. Jeffrey Sachs, if we all just give it up, oh, crap. Oh, I never got my $10 back, damn it. Oh, man, I made a donation last night, $10, my last $10. I just realized that. I just realized the beggar bowl. I'm the beggar now because I have no money. I just realized last night I made change. I put $10 in the bowl, and I wound up donating $10. Yeah, because I didn't have change, and I forgot to take my $10 out. Wow. Oh well, so much. That's a donation. Anyway, as we are not in the top 20, why would? Well, the G20 is a group of countries that are part of it. South Africa never should have been invited to it. Never should have been invited to it. Over to you, says Ramaphosa in his arrogance, yet again, the man who laughs at Donald Trump. Ramaphosa concludes historic G20 presidency with key milestones. Closed G20 presidency with a symbolic gavel transfer to the U.S. despite its absence. Well, yeah, he's trying to play nice now, but of course, that's not who he is. That is not who he is. This is not the man who behaved in the fashion he has this year, running around laughing about dim the lights, lying about not knowing about the protest that took place outside Heidelberg in South Africa after Glenn and Vita Rafferty were murdered. Yeah, that's so here you go. And here's the true Ramaphosa. Here's the true Ramaphosa right here, folks. This is Sir Ramaphosa. This is who he is. Of course, Donald Trump has said bad things are happening in South Africa. So what does Sir Ramaphosa do? Instead of taking a somber thought and laughing at this asshat who's talking to him, this is what he does.
Because as you know, there are a lot of very bad things happening. Very, very bad things. Terrible things. Terrible things happening. It's a disgrace.
That's the real Ramaphosa. Yep. And they put that out so that people could find it intentionally. Yep. That's the real Ramaphosa. Well, Ramaphosa warns the G20 of developing nations' debt crisis. Well, we don't really care about developing nations' debt crisis. My answer is stop loaning the money. Stop loaning the money, and then you won't have a debt crisis. Watch them sink. G20 backs aid for nations facing debt distress. No, they don't, and nothing will be done. President Ramaphosa closed the G20 summit on Sunday with a forceful warning to the spiraling debt burden engulfing developing nations. He told summit leaders the debt burden had become one of the biggest threats to global stability and support was needed for countries at risk of default. Ramaphosa said the world was an inflection point as debt service costs outpaced. Now, see, this is bullshit. We heard the same crap in the 1970s, the same crap in the 1980s, same crap in the 1990s, and the same crap today. Quit borrowing money and wasting it. And I'm sorry to hear that. What a bunch of nonsense. Well, South Africa has no money. It has junk bond status. Yes, I know the bonds were upgraded recently, but they're still junk status. South Africa, despite a ludicrous upgrading by Moody's, still retains junk bond status, which means they pay excessive amounts for borrowing because they're a debtor nation that can't pay their debt. Well, this country that has no money has just given money to the Global Fund. South Africa doubles the Global Fund pledge while key donors scale back. Ramaphosa announced a $36.6 million government and private sector commitment to replenish the summit. At the summit. Yeah. Now, the fund is erroneously created with saving 70 million lives since its launch in 2002, when in fact, many of those lives were saved because of PEPFAR, not because of the Global Fund. Ramaphosa announced the South African government and private sector committed to $36.6 million. The pledge includes $5.5 million from Goodbye Malaria and $4.5 million from Anglo American. So take the $9 million out. So does that mean that South Africa is going to pay $26 million to the Global Fund, a country that doesn't have any money, giving $26 million? Wait till South Africans wake up and realize that South Africa has just given away another $27 million it doesn't have to the Global Fund. South Africa, a recipient of billions of dollars of aid as a Global Fund recipient, is giving money to the Global Fund. Do you get the irony and the stupidity of that? Folks, after all the hard work from Solidarity leading up to the summit to build awareness around race, it is very disheartening that race laws were not mentioned in the delegates. No, did you expect the West to do anything else? The only country that stands for equality and freedom is the United States. The West is gone. They've been gone for years. They're led by a collection of leftist autocrats. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, South Africa is a recipient of global funding from the Global Fund and from PEPFAR, and they're giving money to the fund. Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. It's window dressing. It's virtue signaling, empty-headed virtue signaling. Now, this is the most comical of the headlines that came out. This one's in Times Live. We are bigger than that, says Kumbuju Nseveni. South Africa pushes back against Trump administration's criticism of Ramaphosa. Really? Trump administration's criticism of Ramaphosa. We are bigger than that. You just saw Ramaphosa laughing, correct, at Trump. You also saw Ramaphosa lie to the world, claiming the Americans had to change their mind, and then laughing about it. You saw that, right? I'm sure you guys saw that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, my goodness. Laughing about America.
We have received notice from the United States, a notice which we are still in discussions with them over, about a change of mind about participating in one shape, form or other in the summit. So the discussions are still ongoing. This comes really at the late hour before the summit begins. And so therefore we do need to engage in those types of discussions to see how practical it is and what it finally really means. In a way, we see this as a positive sign, very positive, because, as I've often said, boycott politics never work. It's always best to be inside the tent than being outside of the tent. The tent is G20. All countries are here, and the United States, being the biggest economy in the world, needs to be here. So it's pleasing to hear that there is a change of approach, and so we are still discussing how that will manifest.
So that's Cyril Ramaphosa lying to the world, trying to upstage the United States and make us look bad, and laughing about it at the same time. But here's the reality of that discussion. Within 1 hour of that lie going live on TV, this is the truth.
Explain, because there is not a shift. The United States is not participating in official talks at the G20 in South Africa. I saw the South African president running his mouth a little bit against the United States and the president of the United States earlier today, and that language is not appreciated by the president or his team. The ambassador or the representative of the embassy in South Africa is simply there to recognize that the United States will be the host of the G20. They are receiving that send-off at the end of the event. They are not there to participate in official talks, despite what the South African president is falsely claiming.
Falsely claiming. She called him out. And of course, the black supremacist and leftist liberals in South Africa started screaming about her insulting the president of South Africa. Really, they're upset about a press secretary upsetting or insulting the president of South Africa. Really, that's what they're upset about, honestly. So let's just go to this. Let's go to this very quickly. More of Ramaphosa insulting the United States. Of course, no one's bullying South Africa. We're ignoring South Africa, but not according to Ramaphosa. This is Ramaphosa during the G20.
Well, without the United States, the whole process of the G20 is moving forward.
You will not be bullied.
We will not be bullied. We will not agree to be bullied. Thank you.
There's Ramaphosa insulting America again. You're not being bullied. You're just being an ass. And the list goes on and on of insults that occur. Of course, before this happened, we had this clown on Chris Wyatt lying about America.
As you have said with regards to the program of a refugee, when you look at it, it's race-based. Firstly, you must be a white South African, and secondly, you must be an Afrikaner. So it's a race-based refugee.
No, this is an ass who doesn't know his bum from a hole in the ground. It is not a race-based, unless you want to say it excludes blacks, but it includes coloreds, whites, and Indians. It is not for Afrikaners. It is not for white South Africans. He tells a lie, a lie. And Chris Wyatt is a fake journalist who's been a fake journalist for decades, lying to the world and becoming famous for it because she's a woman from the Middle East who apparently, Middle East origin, who doesn't have to wear a rag around her head. So, so she can say what she wants to say and get away with it, and the West loves her, as if there's some kind of equality in the countries of her origin. Utter nonsense. This man spews utter lies about this program. It has nothing to do with race exclusively. He means to say it's racist because it's whites only, but he just lied. It's not whites only. We know that to be the truth.
Program is not in line with the Geneva Convention that someone to qualify to be a refugee should be persecuted, should be running from a war, and all those. This is just a race.
So this is the man who is the foreign minister of South Africa, and he doesn't understand the things he's talking about. He's completely ignorant, wholly ignorant about what he's talking about. He's sitting here making the claim that you must be a person running from a war. That is simply not true. What Mr. Lamola wants to talk about is the following. He wants to talk about the 1951 Refugee Convention, which is colloquially known as Geneva Convention, and the 1967 protocol that added to it. Those treaties define a refugee as someone with a well-founded fear of persecution for reasons of race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership of a particular group. There's no mention of running from a war. There's no mention of any of the nonsense. No FEMA tents. No UN registration. A well-founded fear of persecution. That is it. That is it. For reasons of race. Ronnie Lamola, once again, doesn't always talk about the failed justice minister who said that, amending the Constitution was just one means. We'll simply pass a law with our majority that will allow us to steal the land from the white South Africans and others. Yep, that's what he said. That's what he said, not a verbatim quote, but essentially. And of course, that is the person who's the justice minister who doesn't understand the rule of law. A person who will pass a law that is in clear violation and is incongruent with the South African Constitution in violation of Section 25. And he says, yeah. And then on top of that, we got Paul Mashatile, deputy president, who lives in a 28.9 million rand mansion in the Western Cape that he doesn't own, that's illicitly given to him by his son-in-law who's currying favor, who gets government tenders. Funny how that happens. He gets government tenders and gives his father-in-law a nice nice ritzy mansion to live in. How does that happen? Well, it happens on the backs of South Africans who have been fleeced for that money for those tenders. Yes, that's what happens. But Paul Mashatile tells the world, tells South Africans that I understand nil to be nothing. They will be paid nothing. Yes, this is what we're talking about. You want to talk about insults and lies? It's coming from the ANC, and it has been coming from the ANC for years. And the truth is out there, but people don't want to hear the truth. They can't handle the truth. China and South Africa launched an initiative back Africa's modernization. Modernization, how so? How so? South African government and the government of the People's Republic of China jointly launched an initiative on cooperation supporting mechanism of modernization. The launch took place the final day. China's Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mao Deyu, said the initiative followed Premier Li Qiang's announcement on Saturday during Session 1. They would launch an initiative supporting the evolution of the G20. The evolution of the G20, another indelible imprint left by Africa during the evolution of the G20. Achieving modernization is a shared dream. How? How? There's no money. There's no mention of how they're going to do it. This is just bullshit. This is just bullshit, talking head nonsense. Oh, we are going to achieve. What are you going to achieve? What are you going to do? What are you going to commit? What are you doing? Nothing here. Nothing here. You're going to modernize and you're going to evolve the G20. Evolve it in what? The UN? Go to the UN with this nonsense. The G20, that's not its purpose. From potholes to pomp and circumstance, Dada de Muro promises that Joburg will be maintained after the G20 summit. Not going to happen. Wouldn't be prudent. England is winning 10-0 over Argentina 18 minutes into the contest. Argentina took the ball at midfield. Here they kick it over the top. Already had a replacement at fullback here. Oh, and England picks it up inside the 20. England wearing dark blue or black jerseys today. A ruck is formed, and England picks up and runs off with it. There they go. Nice carry there by Jamie George getting up to the 22. And there you go. So, all right. England is in front now. So, from potholes to pomp and circumstance, Dada Moreira says we're going to maintain it. He's pledged continuing efforts post-summit to maintain roads and beautification. All those things we're doing on a regular basis, Tuesdays for the mayor at least to be there, but the rest of the days, departments and workforce will continue to do the work. So here's the question that just, the $64,000 question, Dada Moreira. If South Africa can clean up Johannesburg and spruce up the streets and clean the potholes and fix them for the G20 summit when you were given 700 million rand, how exactly is it that you haven't done that before? Why do you have to spruce it up? Why wasn't it already clean? Why did it fall into such a state of disrepair? Yeah, I'm sorry. Dada Moreira, we're going to give you 5 Pinocchios on that one. 5 Pinocchios on that one. Well, and at least News 24 admits this. Mohammed Hussein admits the truth. Cunning Ramaphosa tactical masterstroke, adopt the declaration early. In violation of G20 protocol, Cyril Ramaphosa adopted a not unanimous declaration on the first moments of the summit actually opening before they even discuss what they're going to do. So what this tells you, ladies and gentlemen, what this tells you about the G20 summit, I'm going to tell you about what it is. The whole thing is window dressing. There's no substance to it whatsoever. How can you adopt the declaration when you haven't even met? The leaders haven't even discussed their points for and against the issues. You're adopting it. And don't tell me the Sherpas arranged it all. That's utter nonsense. You adopt a declaration at the end of a summit, not at the stoke, at the beginning. So Cyril Ramaphosa, another violation of international protocol. But hey, let's just say Trump's the one who broke the protocol when it's actually South Africa breaking the protocol. Well, the G20 declaration, a victory for Ramaphosa, a rebuke for Trump. Nope, it's not a rebuke. Wait till Miami. Wait till Miami. You want to see a rebuke? Wait till next year. G20 declaration of victory for South Africa with broad support for a fair global dispensation. So what it means is that European leaders have said, oh, we want to make sure that poor people in Africa do better. We're going to do all we can to make them better. And then they go back and they eat their caviar and they drink their Patron. And they continue to oppress their citizens with fascist laws that dictate what size outlets in the mains they have, how many cows they can have, how much corn they can raise, how many fish they can take from the sea, what they can do, what they can't do, what they can say, what they can't say, whether the state apparatus will spy on them because they're considered right-wing. Yes, that's what they do. Go back and oppress their populations while drinking their champagne and caviar and eating their foie gras and their caviar. And nothing will happen for Africa. Nothing will happen for Africa. Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. Well, despite the declaration, the G20, there are divisions, according to the wife of the president, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron. Macron criticized the U.S.-backed Ukraine peace plan, emphasizing it risks Ukrainian sovereignty and lacks European input. And do you know what? Do you know what we care about European input? Not at all. You are the scumbags fueling the war in which 1 million people have died. You in France, in Paris, in London, in Berlin, and Jens Stoltenberg, and Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe. Come on, Joe. Join the party. Come join us, Joe. Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe. Oh, Sleepy Joe. Yeah, Sleepy Joe is the one who helped stoke the murder, the death, the painful suffering of Ukrainians and Russians. Yeah, Sleepy Joe with his little bindy legs here. Oh, Sleepy Joe. Anyway, Sleepy Joe, these are the war criminals who fueled this war. We don't care what they have to say about ending the war in Ukraine. We don't care. Because you can't handle the truth. What do you want? You want us to continue the war and people continue to die while you sell Mirage fighters and you sell French artillery and the Germans sell Leopard tanks to the Ukrainians? Yeah, and the Swedes sell Saab fighter jets to the Ukrainians? Is this what you want? Who knows what the Brits are selling? What have they got to sell? Their industry is completely gone. So that's what it's all about. I love how people say the military-industrial complex in America. The military-industrial complex is in Europe. That's where the military-industrial complex. They're the ones profiting off of war. We're the ones trying to turn it off. Meanwhile, we've stripped our arsenal. We have no Patriot batteries, no spare Patriots sitting around. ATACMS, we've stripped our arsenal. If we get attacked, we're screwed. We haven't replenished our stocks because Joe Biden it's just like he stripped our National Strategic Petroleum Fund to lower the price of gasoline by 5 cents on the gallon. Idiot. Burned through 75% of its strategic petroleum reserve to lower prices that were higher because of his failed policies. Unbelievable. Emmanuel Macron, we don't care what you have to say. We don't care. Here's another person we don't care what he has to say. Turkey's dictator for life, the fake coup plotter. Turkish president praised South Africa for its commitment to the Palestinian plight. Oh, shut up. Turkish president, dictator for life, Erdogan, has praised South Africa for its continued fight against the genocide in Gaza. Aha. So here, South Africa can run around and talk about a genocide in Gaza, which isn't proven, which isn't factual, which isn't legal. But then they can claim that Trump claims a white genocide and that he's the bad guy. Does anyone ever point out the fact that the South Africans illicitly claim a Palestinian genocide and they claim that Trump is saying white genocide? Well, the thing is that the Palestinians are white. So therefore, the South Africans have been claiming a white genocide for years in Palestine, in Gaza. Do you not get the irony of their hypocrisy? They're calling a genocide against white people, but denying one in South Africa and blaming Trump for it. Well, this is going to take the cake, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just tuning into the program today, this one will knock your socks off. This one is going to really make you shake your head and go, what the hell? Without broad-based black economic empowerment, South Africa risks economic instability, says Nchishene. Wow. Are you serious? Joel Nchishene, who held key communication policy roles in the governments of Nelson Mandela and Thabo Mbeki, has launched a spirited defense of black economic empowerment, urging critics to contend with the emergence of black capitalist class, no matter how uncomfortable that may be. He's the executive director of the think tank Mapungubwe Institute for Strategic Relations, was addressing a broad-based Black Economic Empowerment Commission strategy session on Thursday. He said economic empowerment laws were under siege, with the commission singled out as accused number one by those opposed to policy. It's also illogical to expect BE to have resolved the challenge of slow rates of employment creation. Worse still, BE... Wait. Slow rates of employment creation? Startups in Silicon Valley create tens of thousands of jobs in a matter of months. Millions of jobs are created just like that. What do you mean slow rates of job growth creation? Now, you could create jobs if you quit having racist policies. BE cannot be expected to solve problems of water and other infrastructure, potholes, grass cutting, no. But a capitalist system can solve all of those problems. I can hire someone to cut my grass right now. The township has a contract with a rubbish removal company, a private company that I pay for. And they take my trash every Wednesday without fail. If there's a snowstorm, they let us know in advance when they'll collect the trash so we don't leave it in the streets for rodents and for pests. My water is provided by a co-op, which is a private enterprise, not for profit. My water arrives here clean and fresh every single day. I turn the spigot on, I have water. It's not brown. It's not polluted. It's not unsafe. In a capitalist system. But those organizations are not run by racists. Those organizations do not privilege a segment of society at the expense of others. Of course, no BE can solve water problems. No BE can solve potholes. We have companies that can fix roads, private corporations, but when you ace half the country out of half of the economy, well, then guess what? You're going to get nowhere. You're going to get nowhere. This then brings us to the frank discussion that some find uncomfortable, and this is the post-colonial class formation has to include as its core element the emergence and creation of a cohort of black capitalists, the so-called black capitalist class. Well, if there was no BE, there would be. So listen to this. Look at the logic of this moron. This idiot says that we have to have racist laws to raise black people up to become capitalists. Well, racist laws in giving you advantage when you're not qualified or talented doesn't make you a capitalist. It makes you a patronage puppy. It makes you a patronage puppy. If you lack the skills, the talent, the drive to become a successful capitalist, then you will simply be a leech. Wow. This is what he's saying. This guy's an idiot. I don't know who he is. I've never met him before. Yeah, but we're going to do a video on that when I get around to it. I'm going to do a video on that because that's unbelievable. He defends BE, claiming you have to have state intervention and you have to fraudulently create capitalists. You can't create capitalists. You have to create a system that's fair so people can do it. Nkosazana Zuma Ncube accuses her sister Duduzile of luring men into the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ooh, why would this be? Because daddy's a friend of the Russians? Former President Jacob Zuma's daughter Nkosazana wants her half-sister Duduzile to be held criminally liable for allegedly recruiting 17 South African men who are now trapped in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. National Police spokesman Brigadier Athlenda Mate said on Sunday that Zuma Ncube filed an affidavit at the Sandton Police Station requesting a formal investigation into her half-sister's alleged involvement. The chickens are coming home to roost for the MK party and their little alleged seditious member. Yes, a member of parliament. Well, some good news for South Africa. We've been talking about some bad stuff. How about some good news? Hello, folks. Good news. South Africa's world-class wine estates received global acclaim. The best vineyards of 2025 set a resounding endorsement, according to John Steenhuisen. That's the Klein Constantia wine estate in Western Cape. Well, I'm not familiar with that one. I know Groot Constantia, but I don't know Klein Constantia. South Africa's wine industry is basking in international recognition after 2 vineyards secured top 10 spots, and 4 others ranked in the top 100, the most prestigious the world's 50 vineyards list. South Africa produces about 4% of the world's wine and ranks as the 7th largest wine-producing country globally. Klein Constantia in the Western Cape emerges as Africa's top vineyard, earning 6th place globally and clinching the coveted highest climber award after soaring 35 places from last year. Known for its historical charm dating back to 1685 and its world-famous dessert wine, Vin de Constance, the estate offers a refined blend of Cape Dutch architecture. Creation Wines in the Hemel on Aarde Valley, aptly named Heaven and Earth, was ranked 7th worldwide. The state has been dominated by the regional category until last year and was voted the best vineyard in Africa. Revered for its cool climate Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, the estate continues to dominate regional rankings with its combination of biodiversity, fine art, and immersive wine experiences. Adding further sparkle to the nation's wine credentials, 4 other vineyards earned places in the extended top 100. Tokara Wine and Olive Estate ranked 71st. Delaire Graf Estate 79th. Lamotte 94th. And Hamilton Russell Vineyards at 99th. The last 2 are new entrants into the listing. Well, congratulations. There's John Steenhuisen, the agriculture minister, talking about it on the heels of the G20. Well, City Press says the DA's Uber Eats war. John Steenhuisen's takeaway bill makes Dion George block his party credit card. George stopped Steenhuisen's credit card after discovering unauthorized transactions for takeaways and household expenses. The accusations emerged after George's removal as environment minister. The dispute has unleashed fierce mudslinging within the DA with counter allegations including sexual misconduct and now a lawsuit for defamation of character. DA leader John Steenhuisen is accused of abusing his official party credit card by using it to buy takeaways. But Steenhuisen claims George is bitter because he was removed as minister and has challenged George to hand over evidence to the party he misused his credit card. Now, that is a dangerous situation. If, in fact, Steenhuisen did misuse his credit card, the receipts will be there to show he bought, fish takeaways. But we do know that John Steenhuisen apparently can't manage his own personal finances, having 150,000 Rand debt judgment against him for not paying his credit card. Yes, that's right. Well, I guess not going to university might have been a problem. The G20 presidency handover will happen anytime from Monday, says Ronnie Lamola. Yes. Who took a much more conciliatory tone and a much more appropriate diplomatic tone yesterday. South Africa and the UK? New bedfellows? One autocrat to another? Keir Starmer to Cyril Ramaphosa? Wouldn't surprise me. A possible deal that would have seen UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer accept the hand over the final declaration of the G20 to the U.S. on behalf of South Africa due to the absence of President Trump has been abandoned at the last minute. UK has been a major supporter of South Africa's presidency, and some local officials had felt that a handover of the declaration to Starmer would have been smoother. Well, that would have been a dumb idea, and the U.S. would have been pissed off at the UK as well. The fact it was even discussed is pathetic. Protocol broken as Pretoria prepares to hand over presidency to the U.S. next week. Yes, protocol has been broken by South Africa and by Ronald Lamola. Yep. South Africa's government insulting our top diplomat in Pretoria, refusing to accept a 3-decade experience. He has more experience in diplomacy than Ronald Lamola has in government or Cyril Ramaphosa has in government. And this man has been just dismissed perfunctorily by South Africa's government in a mistake that they will not recover from. 50 of those children kidnapped from a Nigerian school apparently have escaped. 50 of the more than 300 children snatched by gunmen from a Catholic school in Nigeria have escaped their captors. We've received some good news as 50 pupils escaped and have reunited with their parents, said the Christian Association of Nigeria in a statement, adding that they escaped Friday and Saturday. Whew, man, good on them. Well done. China's manufacturing base continues to erode. As I've told you for years now, China is in a lot of trouble economically, and the press fails to report on this for the most part. As global buyers demand diversification, Chinese firms are moving production to Vietnam, Indonesia, and Central Asia rather than doing it in China. Labor-intensive and mid to low-tech manufacturing chains are moving to Southeast Asia, while some energy-intensive industries are expanding into Central Asia. Some Chinese business owners have obtained foreign passports and now manage their Chinese factories remotely from abroad. Wow, as I've been telling you for ages. Ludwig, thank you. Do you think the new firearm bill will pass? Probably. Are you talking about South Africa? Okay, I'm confused about which bill you're talking about there, Ludwig. Sorry. Taiwan's minister says consensus reached with U.S. to shield chips from tariffs. So we are not going to hit tariffs on Taiwan's chips. That'll make computers and other devices and automobiles much cheaper. That's good. No tariffs. Taiwan hopes to secure a deal with the U.S. administration that would ease the current 20% tariffs on its exports. President Trump also threatened in August tariffs up 300% on chip imports, but now that's not going to happen. U.S. and Taiwan. Once again, Donald Trump, masterstroke, using tariffs to achieve what he wants politically, and it's working. A colossal rubbish heap dumped in the UK really has got a lot of people upset. Discovery of a mountain of garbage near a highway is the latest example of what experts say is a growing problem of criminal organizations profiting from illegal dumping in the UK. That's insane. Fly tipping. Right next to a highway. Insane, folks. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. It would almost be majestic if it weren't so smelly. An enormous pile of trash, 500 feet in length and up to 4 stories tall, was recently discovered near a highway in the English countryside, leading to a national outcry. Despite its massive scale, the dump remained hidden from sight for weeks behind a row of trees, leaving many in the country who recently came across images of the heap in disbelief. When I was sent the video and pictures, I had to double-check and think, is this AI? Said Liz Greek, a spokeswoman for the Thames 21 environmental nonprofit. In terms of the waste tips I've seen, this is probably the worst. It's shocking. The rubbish mountain near Kidlington, 60 miles northwest of London, is the latest example of what experts say is a growing problem of criminal organizations profiting from illegal dumping. Yeah, while British authorities are asleep, this is what people are doing in their country. Dumping. Yeah, it's actually apropos because UK is a dumping ground for the world's trash. Brazilian authorities have exceeded their legal remit and now have arrested the former president. Fearing he would flee, police in Brazil arrest Jair Bolsonaro. The arrest came days before the former president was expected to be ordered to begin a 27-year prison sentence for staging a failed coup, which he didn't do. Police in Brazil arrested former President Jair Bolsonaro Saturday amid fears that he might escape house arrest to avoid serving a 27-year prison sentence for a failed clue pot. Of course, he has been convicted by a corrupt government known by a convicted felon who is now running the country. Yeah, stay tuned for Donald Trump to impose sanctions or actions against Brazil for this illegal effort. They claim that a vigil by his supporters are the reason that he risked fleeing. Police of Brazil have taken former President Jair Bolsonaro into custody after the country's highest court determined he presented a concrete flight risk. In an order issued on November 22nd, reviewed by the Epoch Times, Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes said the detention was a preventive measure prompted by new facts, including the alleged plan by Bolsonaro to break his electronic ankle monitor and a public call for a vigil outside his home that would allow for possible escape. Well, that's not going to go over well with Donald Trump. So Canada wants to play games with fighter jets. Good luck with that. Have fun, Canada. Yes, Canada began a review of its fighter jet deal with the United States after Trump imposed tariffs. Now Sweden is back with a sales pitch for its Gripens. There's something that U.S. Ambassador to Canada thinks could help with thawing frozen trade negotiations, and that's for Canada to continue with a deal to purchase the American-made F-35 from Lockheed Martin. The government began audit of that deal after Mr. Trump imposed tariffs on Canada. The review will assess if the new fleet remains compatible with Canada's military needs and protection of its sovereignty in light of evolving geopolitics. But Sweden is keeping tabs on the audit. This week, during a state visit to Ottawa by Swedish royals, focused largely on security and defense cooperation. The country's senior officials doubled down on their sales pitch for the Gripen. Saab was one of the two finalists for the fighter jet contract. Well, go ahead. I dare you. I dare you, Canada. I dare you. I dare you. Buy the Saab Gripen. It's a great plane, but it's not an F-35. Buy it. Go ahead and buy it. Cripple yourself. And when you find yourself in combat, watch other people shoot down your Gripens left and right. This isn't Africa or Malaysia, where a Gripen will more than do the job against your regional opponents. This is against world-class fighter jets. Good luck with that. Let's see the Canadians buy the Gripen and watch them get shot out of the sky. G7 security ministers are meeting in Ottawa while the G20 is concluding, discussing organized crime, migrant smuggling, and drugs. Public Safety Minister Gary Anandagangari plans to meet with G7 counterparts and others in Ottawa to discuss problems including transnational organized crime. So, that's what they're doing. They're meeting. Back home, voters stand by Marjorie Taylor Greene, the coward who's backing out of Congress a year before her term is up. Ms. Greene's resignation blindsided her conservative Georgia district, which has stuck by her through ups and downs, including her split with the president. A portion of the country might have been looked at Representative Marjorie Greene as a symbol of how caustic and bewildering national politics have become as she spread conspiracy theories and falsehoods and heckled former President Joe Biden during a State of the Union address. Well, I actually supported that. No, I didn't. I said she was inappropriate. Back home in Georgia, some of her constituents did not always like what she said or how she, but plenty are backing her now. And so Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's her district in Cedartown, Georgia, and they're backing her. Of course, she's a coward who has announced that she will resign from Congress on the 5th of January, putting the Republican majority in jeopardy. Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene, instead of fulfilling the obligation to her voters to serve her last year, is leaving because she's a coward. She's a coward. Well, this coward decides that she wants to, get this, run for President of the United States. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, the grenade-throwing, caustic right-wing wackadoodle, is slapping down reports that she's considering, she's slapping now. She's not going to do it. She says it's not true. Okay, she says it's not true. Okay, well, good for her. I love my family way too much to know want my sweet district. Okay, that's what she said about resigning. Okay, all right. So people are mentioning her. She's saying it's not true. Well, good for you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You don't want to run for office because you're not electable. You're not electable. You're not electable. Off to TV for the rest of the news. What? Spiraling costs and a broken insurance market. What went wrong with Obamacare? Well, the Unaffordable Care Act was a fraud from the outset. I said so in 2010. I say so today. Masked by subsidies, the one-size-fits-all system has pushed up prices across the broader medical insurance market, say experts. Congress is now debating a second extension of temporary tax credits that shielded Obamacare users from rising costs for 5 years. Without the subsidies, Democrats say millions of Americans will be priced out of the health insurance market at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. President Trump and other Republicans don't want an extension. They want a transformational change that eliminates what they say are unworkable policies and perverse incentives that have plagued the program from the beginning. The Unaffordable Care Act is a disgrace, and it has driven up health care costs in this country to levels that are unsustainable. And this is the result of Democrats. Remember Nancy Pelosi famously saying, just vote for the bill. Then we will Then we will read it afterwards. Remember that? Yep. Kash Patel, the director of the Federal Bureau of Incompetence, is now under scrutiny. Apparently, he's been using G-men, SWAT teams, to protect his girlfriend. The FBI director's travel on government jets has contributed to growing questions inside the administration about whether he is using taxpayer-funded resources inappropriately. Well, looky there. When Alexis Wilkins, an aspiring country singer dating the FBI director Kash Patel, sang Star Spangled Banner at the National Rifle Association's annual convention in Atlanta, she arrived with a formidable protective posse, a SWAT team from the Bureau's local field office. The two agents, members of a specialized unit trained to storm barricaded buildings and rescue hostages, had been sent there on Mr. Patel's orders. But seeing that the event at the Georgia World Congress Center had been secured and that Miss Watkins was in no apparent danger, they left before the event was over, according to 6 people. She noticed, so did her boyfriend. Soon, Mr. Patel ripped in the team's commander, saying that his girlfriend had been left without taxpayer-funded defenders and slamming what he saw as a failure to communicate their movements up the chain of command. Wow. Well, Mr. Kash Patel, are you another scumbag wasting our resources? Are you a blue light special, Mr. Kash Patel? If you are, we need to know about it. We need to know if Kash Patel is just another one of these governments. You know, he's a guy that we've supported unequivocally to reform the FBI, but we are still not seeing the tangible results of that. So, is this true? If Kash Patel is using this to protect his girlfriend. Now, if there was a credible threat against her life, that's a different story. But there were no credible threats against her life. There are no threats whatsoever. There's no reason to think there are any threats. Most people don't even know who she is. I never heard of her. She's a country music star. She looks Indian to me. Let me go back and look at that. I don't know many Indian country. That's his girlfriend? That's his girlfriend. She looks Indian to me, and her name is Alice Watkins. What is it? Alexis Wilkins. Alexis Wilkins. That's a white gal? She looks Indian to me. Anyway, if Kash Patel is misusing government resources, he should be brought to bear, and we'll call him out on that. If he's not, and it's just a hit job, then we will tell people. Pendo doesn't trust Kash Patel. I think Joan meant she is going to watch the stream on the TV. Oh, gotcha. Okay, Sean. Notice the 50-plus crowd takes Trump's side, and the under 40 crowd takes MTG's side. MTG speaks to the concerns of the younger generation. The older generation dismiss her at her own. No, we don't dismiss her at our own peril. She's an asshole. Oh, she's a jerk. She's a jerk. She's rude. She's disrespectful. We don't dismiss her. Never liked her. Never liked her. When she did that against Biden, it was funny, but it was wildly inappropriate. 5 killed as Israel bombed southern suburbs of Beirut. Oh, well, now Israel's attacking Lebanon. What's that all about? Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office says Hezbollah's chief of staff was a target, the latest violation of a year-old ceasefire. Israel's launched an attack in the southern suburbs of Lebanese capital Beirut, killing at least 5 people and wounding 28 others. Sunday's strike in an apartment block in the Hezbollah stronghold took place despite a ceasefire that came into effect a year ago to end hostilities. Hezbollah has yet to confirm whether he has died in the incident. Well, that's not helpful, Israel. That's not helpful. Can't you just blow up his cell phone? What is going on? Who's using K? What is this? Are my moderators not dealing with that? Do I not have a moderator here? Hendo's here. Someone better not be using K. No, we don't ignore her. And, you know, she doesn't address the under 50. She doesn't. She just talks. She just talks. Nothing she's ever said has ever come to fruition. Not a damn thing. Colorful language used for effect. Two people. Where is this at? And why is it being tolerated by my moderators? Do they not see it? Instead of saying you've seen 2 people, name them. Where's it? I don't see anything here. I'm looking. Looks like Johannesburg, the pile of rubbish. The ANC will continue to abuse the world's generosity up until they get refused. Well, the U.S. is refusing them. John Cena is destroying the DA. A little wonder that can't pay his bills. How could he be left in charge? Well, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, it's too late for Lamola to try to be diplomatic now. He can't walk it back. Please stop deleting comments because you don't like the comment. Well, if someone's using the K word, it's going to be deleted. So what are we talking about here? I don't see where any of these things are. I don't see it. I'm going way back. I don't see it. Still looking. Still looking. You got me wasting my time looking for something here. I see nothing. Then so be it. If the chair wants to be rude and respectful, I'll take my family and leave. We'll find more intelligent, respectful spaces. Not expose my girls to what? What are you exposing your girls to, Jonathan? What are you talking about? If the chair, what are you talking about? This must be where it's at. Where is it at here? Still not saying it here. Okay, there's nothing here. I've gone all the way back as far as I can. Argentina is losing 17-13. That was, at what time is that? So 11:53. So people wait a half hour to start complaining about something that happened at least over half an hour ago. Okay, I don't know who you are, Flyboy. I don't know what you're talking about. There is no such thing. I went back 30 minutes. You're waiting now 30 minutes to complain? Oh, they're complaining about people using that. Okay. So, Christine, okay, you know what? Screw you all. You know what? That's it. I'm tired of this nonsense. If you're going to be children and punish me because you are too lazy to block the comments from someone else, that's on you. That's on you. If you are too lazy to block someone's comments, which you have the ability to do by simply pushing on the radio and blame me for it when I'm giving the news, then be gone. Then be gone. Be gone. I don't care. Because you're just starting shit in here. You're starting chaos in here. You're the one not being an adult. You're failing to identify. Nobody has told me who supposedly did this. No one who told me did this. Not one person has said who did it. So whoever's complaining about it's not telling me you're a coward. And you're going to punish me? Be gone. Footsec, I don't give a shit. I don't need this nonsense. I'm doing the news and you're whining about stuff in the chat because you're too lazy to block people. Unbelievable. You're going to blame me for it. You're going to leave my channel, punish me. Well, fuck off then. That's what I say. I don't need this shit. Lazy people. Starting shit in here. I don't think it's even real. I went back a half an hour, not one mention of it. People starting shit. You know what? We'll make this very simple. We'll make this very simple. Very simple. Very simple. Very simple. I'll make this easy. Very simple. Valid reaction by who? By me or by people in the chat? We'll make this very simple. We'll make this very simple. I don't have to deal with this crap and be treated like this by people who want to sit there and moan about stuff that they're not even doing anything to take care of. You have the ability to do that. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. People acting like asses here. But where did they moved it? I can't find the chat room. Can't find chat. Unbelievable. It won't let me do it. Oh, there it is. Okay. There we go. That should do it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Intentional efforts to destroy the news program. Childish behavior. Childish behavior. Childish behavior. You want to come in here and start an argument with something that doesn't exist in the chat. If you saw it in the chat, why didn't you address the monitor and say, hey, can you stop that from happening? Why? Why? Why didn't you simply block the person by clicking on the radials and acting like a 3-year-old? I'm leaving the chat. Be gone. I don't care. I don't care if you're an OG watching this channel from the beginning. If you've been here 6 years and you don't know how to handle this, well, that's on you, not on me. Attacking me, leaving my channel because you're unhappy, fine, leave. But don't spew your hatred in the frickin' chat. Just be gone. Just be gone. Unbelievable. 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 Shocking, to say the very least. Shocking, to say the least. Okay, who is Harry? I don't even know. Thank you, Fabian. Thank you for sharing that. Who is Harry? I don't even see by name Harry here. I'll look. I tell you, a bunch of little children. Oh, my feelings are hurt. Oh, I'm going to punish the colonel. My feelings are hurt. Grow up. Block the person. Call them out. Unbelievable. The 5 trolls just left. We dropped from 731 to 725. Thank you for calling out the person. Can't believe this. On a Sunday. You got to ruin a Sunday. People just can't even... You know what? I really don't need this crap. I really don't need this. Thank you, Fabian. Yeah, nobody used the K word in the whole chat. Yet people whined about the K word. Thank you. I went back a half hour, couldn't find a single use of it. Anyway. It's unreal. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You didn't miss anything, Charles. It all just started 5 minutes ago. You didn't miss anything. You had a great news broadcast, and then people want to start causing disruption here. Well, come on, England. Don't let me down. I can't lose that game. Yep. People just want to be difficult. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You're not able to chat? Quids, because people are acting like toddlers. Oh, people are using the K word. Oh, my feelings hurt. I'm leaving the chat. I'm out of here. I'm leaving the channel. Then be gone. Be gone. Acting like little children. Good Lord. My gosh. Who cares what the word means, Pats? It's a racist insult, the way it's used in the context of South Africa. It's not allowed. First off, I know that it's not allowed here, and I know people are full of crap. You know why I know they're full of crap? And I'll show you why they're full of crap. Let me go find this very quickly here. I'm going to prove to you that that was all bullshit, okay? Because I have words that are blocked. I have words that are blocked. So here you go. There is my screen. I have 4 block words. One begins with an F, one begins with a K, one begins with an N, one begins with a P. You can't say those words in my chat. You can't say those words in my chat. So you're a liar. You're a liar, a liar, a liar, a liar. You're a liar. And if your feelings hurt because you're a liar, then you're a liar. There is my blocked words. That word is blocked. You can't use it in chat. It's impossible to use it. So lying about it to start trouble on my channel, be gone. No one wants you here. I turned the chat off. Are you people not paying attention, or are you 20 minutes behind? Well, I don't care, Del Marie. Some really good people left. They're not good people if they're going to punish me. Screw them. Be gone. I don't need this crap. After 6 years of putting up with this shit, people acting like children, I don't need it. Really good people left. They felt disrespected. Disrespected by whom? Children. Exactly. Ass wipes come on this program and start nonsense. And you all, and whatever. I'm not going to get into it. Okay, Pat. There were no racist uses of it here. There were no... Stop it. Your message is getting deleted. Your message is getting deleted because you're not going to perpetrate that lie. There was no racist use of it here. Remove. It wasn't here. I just told you and showed you that it's not allowed on my channel and hasn't been since I started this channel. So stop telling people that it occurred here because it didn't occur here. And people who took offense over something that never happened is ridiculous. Yeah, and these are trolls, and people are acting like fools because of it. No, I don't need it, Philip. I don't need it. It's utter nonsense. You guys don't have to thank me, appreciate me. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for the potty mouth, but I'm tired of this stuff. Thank you, Alan McGonigal. Bad behavior is not my fault. That's why I have moderators, to deal with bad behavior. Okay, Xavier, send me a message. Oh, is that spelled with an O-E-S? Is that the word? Well, Ronaldo says it all the time in his program. I didn't know it was that disrespectful, Xavier. But people need to grow up. You know, instead of punishing me, just block the people. You click on the radio and you block them. It's simple. I don't know how many times I got to tell people this. Okay? So let me just go to my channel and play it real quick so that I can, excuse me. No, Quids, that doesn't work that way. People come here to chat. They half of them don't even listen to the news. So if I do that, then it cuts the size of the audience. I'm not going to, no, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I could miss things by, that people say. So that's not really going to solve the problem. This is an intentional effort to undermine the channel probably by competitors who have penis envy. That's probably what it is, because I've surged this week. View on YouTube. Let me go there. I'm going to show you what you got to do here. Okay. I'm put myself on mute here. Okay. Where's the chat? Okay. Okay, let me show you. If your feelings are hurt because somebody said something, or you don't like what they said, you're offended by it, that's your prerogative. Okay? People get offended by the easiest things. But let's go ahead and go there. Here is the channel. There's the chat. All you do is, if I'm offended by Chris Wyatt, who's one of my moderators, I click on that little radio right there, and I go, oh, that's okay. That's for me. I'm sorry. That's because I've got control of the channel. But you can block that person. I can remove them. You can't do that. But you can block that person. There you go. You can block. You just click on that little radio and you can block. And click on those little 3 dots over there, and you don't have to see their chat, and you don't have to be offended by what they say. It's as simple as that, folks. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. And you want to know what? You want to know why I lost my cool there? Because somebody who's been on this program, somebody who asked to do a broadcast about a very controversial topic, somebody that I've supported endlessly, somebody who I've addressed fairly, told me they're leaving the channel. You know what? I can't help people like that. I bend over backwards to show respect and be considerate people, and they're going to punish me because they're upset by some word. Pat, you didn't have to give a 35 Rand super chat, okay? Thank you very much for that. It's very kind of you. I wish I was more clear. I meant here in South. Yeah, in South. I understand, Pat. My apologies. Again, here is here in the chat. We're in the chat. So that's, I inferred incorrect. I inferred incorrectly what you stated. My apologies. Well, as far as I know, it didn't disrupt anything for me. I mean, the audience stayed way up at a high level for a long time, and I was doing the news. I wasn't watching the chat. Well, Jack, you can say that the word's offensive, but it isn't allowed on my channel, so someone's lying. Oh, I more than did my best for that person. They're leaving the channel. That person's so depressed, can't fill out the form, can't do this, can't do that. And I bend over backwards to find people, and my audience goes and helps that person fill it out. It's insane. It's insane. That's why I lost my cool, because of that comment. Because of that comment. That's why I lost my cool. Because, I mean, just... Gotcha, Jack. Anyway, guys, yeah, so if anybody shows up for the refugee cafe clutch, I'll be here. I've got to run the Veterans Place real quick and do some work. Yeah, no rest for the... Hey, Dylan, there's an OG. Right, Quids. I've used the D word quite a number of times when someone's acting. Yeah. Yeah, I've used it. I mean, to me, it's not, I guess it's a grave an insult if someone took an insult, because I've used it. I learned it from Alfred Connors. So, I mean, I don't use the P word. That one I get is really offensive. I really get that. I mean, You use the P word and the K word and the Z word. What's the Z word? Hey, Anne-Marie, what's going on? You remind me of my sergeant major. Wow, kids are very sensitive. Philip, 350 Rand for the super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. Well, now, I don't know if it's a troll, but there's a lot of childish behavior by people in my program watching it. Yes, Art Queen, I get the P word's vulgar. That's why I don't use it. It's kind of like the C word in English. Feelings are hurt in this channel. Thank you, Leo Vinyanza from Ernstburg. Oh my, do you ever feel like you live in a world of deja vu? I do. No, people won't apologize. No, I know you weren't offended, Loretta. Now, don't start picking at each other. The stuff that was going on, those people have left. People were complaining that their kids are watching the chat. Why are kids watching the chat? They dropped from the Korean alphabet. It's just a little out of control. Again, Anne-Marie, where is it out of control? I went back 30 minutes. You all wait a half an hour to complain about it. A half an hour before someone complains about it. What did I make a Trump shift from pausing ICE raids on farms? That's old news, Mr. Echo. No, it's not. They're just focusing elsewhere. And William Wheeler, hello. Thanks for the news. See you at 9. Okay. Bro, it's time for bed. Okay, guys. The program is set so that children are not allowed to watch my videos. Okay? Let me just show you that, okay? By default, when I do something, children can't watch it. If you're allowing your children to watch it, I'm not going to criticize you for that. But understand that there is a fire for effect use of profanity occasionally on the program, like you saw a few minutes ago when I lost my cool. I try to control it. I try to keep it under control, but sometimes it's appropriate. Thank you, Leo Vinyas for Nipper. But this I'm offended. I'm leaving the channel nonsense. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Blaming me and pissed off at my channel because you're offended by something someone said in chat. Block them. Block them. Block them. It's not hard to do. Your laziness is not my fault. Yeah, baby shark. Baby shark, do-do-do-do-do-do, baby shark, do-do-do-do. And if kids recognize those words, they've seen them before. Exactly. People aren't getting me, Marina. I'm just was irritated by what was going on in the chat. Exactly, Ludwig. I clearly banned that word in my chat. It's not allowed. People cry about their feelings hurt, live in a fantasy world where everything goes their way. So sick of all the woke nonsense. Yep. Charles says, my daughter's next to me on her laptop. At 15, she should be old enough to handle what happens in the blog. If your child cannot, they should not be listening in the first place. Well, Charles, greetings to your 15-year-old daughter. I'm sure that she, when we were trying to raise the money for your treatment, all the unfortunate jokes people were making about being bum hurt, including me. Thankfully, that's over now, and hopefully you get your care taken care of. And greetings to your daughter. Anyway. All right. So where are we at here? They should have blocked people or closed it. Yeah, it's not hard to close the chat. If you closed the chat, then we never would have had me go, I would never have lost my cool. Rossi for the Irish, says Charles. A lot of more things that parents allow children to watch. Love your channel. Thank you. Sorry, Schoolman. Okay. And Marie. Nick's very best. Honestly, a lot of idiots peeking and stay the course. Oh, now there's a good question. Richard Brudick says, what action do you think Trump will take in South Africa? That's a very good question. And I'm not really sure what Trump is going to do, if anything. I don't know. It's interesting. Trump has been very reserved. I mean, very reserved. All he did is say, and look, see, they want the media in South Africa want to talk about, AfriForum and solidarity and white genocide and all that other nonsense. The reason the United States did not attend the G20 summit is because Ramaphosa insisted on pushing a declaration in which they were going to preach the climate zealotry, the religion of climate change. And that was one of the reasons. The other reasons is this debt relief nonsense. I mean, no one's done more for debt relief for African countries than America. We've forgiven tens of billions of dollars of debt to no avail. The same countries just wind right back up in debt and fail to fulfill their obligations they agreed to with the debt relief. So why in the world should we do that? So, I mean, that's why the U.S. is not there. It's not because of Afrikaners. It's not because of farm murders. It's not because of expropriation of compensation. The reason the United States did not go to the summit is because of that. Yet the South African media and very well-established names and reasonably responsible journalists are spewing the propaganda that it's because of white genocide. It's not because of white genocide. It is because of the government of South Africa trying to push this narrative in G20, climate change and debt relief. It's utter nonsense. I don't know what Trump is going to do, if he's going to do anything. But Trump it's in his rights to do whatever he wants because South Africa is acting like a fool. I mean, that clip right there, this says it all. This clip here says it all. Let me go back to that. This is all you need to know. All you need is, oh, come on, computer, now it's acting up again. All you need to know, all you need to see, all you need to do when it comes to understanding what has happened is to watch the following clip. Well, not that one. That's Goober there. In fact, I used to do work. Didn't I call him an idiot? Oh, come on. There it is. Okay, so here you go.
Because as you...
All you need to know about where Ramaphosa is and who he believes and who he thinks he is and how he thinks he deals with the world is this.
Because as you know, there are a lot of very bad things happening. Very, very bad things.
Terrible things.
Terrible things.
It's a disgrace.
And by the way, some of the people who left whose feelings were hurt are people who constantly bombard me with messages, emails, texts. What about this? What about my case? What about this? Can you help me with this? Things that are easily answered by watching the video. And I kindly and politely take my time and dedicate my life to answering the questions and helping those people overcome their challenges. And this is how they reward me. This is how they reward me. Well, I'm leaving the channel. That's your prerogative. I don't have any zip ties to hold you down to a chair to make you watch it. Oh, it's a shame Neil DeBeer wasn't alive for this summit. We would have had a blast with that. Eli Berserker says, bye. Well, bye, Eli. Are you leaving? Did I offend you? Did I offend you, Eli? No, Cornet Creek, I'm with you. I'm still confused. I'm reading a different chat. Never seen any of that. Neither did I. Neither did I. People are just starting crap in here. People are just starting crap. Hey, Shawnee. What did I walk into? Yeah, stop. Charles tells me, stop waterboarding people, forcing them to watch your channel. Oh, you're having a good time. Then why are you leaving, Eli, if you're having a good time? RVC says, I'm just, for being late. Cyril's big blunder. Cyril's big blunder, man. Yeah, anyway. Fon says, my pa is Oh, Andres, that's very kind of you. Only one for watching. Well, not when I have the potty mouth. Oh, you were greeting people leaving. Okay, Eli, thank you for sharing that. See, that's another problem. Sometimes I get a little hot under the collar about somebody writes in the chat, but what they're trying to say isn't clear because you only get so many characters. Yeah, I agree. Reading all the chats from the start of the stream, mods are doing their job stream. Well, thank you. Yeah, exactly. I don't see what the issue is here. That's why I have mods. I don't see people complaining about. Kevin says, I'm too conditioned. I would leave. Jonathan says, I've written you one email, not hundreds you claim. We took screenshots, so don't claim the people used the letter K. Don't know. Okay, now, Jonathan, I wasn't talking about you. You're taking offense for something that wasn't directed at you. See, it's all about me with people all the time. I didn't say anything about Jonathan, and I wasn't talking about Jonathan. Several people left the chat, Jonathan. Several people left the chat. Several. I wasn't saying anything about you. Now you're outing yourself. You're doxing yourself. I didn't say anything about you. But while we're on the topic, Jonathan, I don't know what you're talking about. Now you're saying the letter. You're saying the letter was used. No, that's not what was said earlier. People said the word was used. People erroneously said the word was used. So do you want me to ban the letter K, Jonathan? If I ban the letter K, then there'll be no chat. The letter K is an integral part of many words, like back, craft. I can't ban the letter K, but you can ban the person using it if it offends you, Jonathan. You can ban the person using it if it offends you. It's simple as that. It's as simple as that. But I didn't say anything about you, Jonathan. I didn't state or imply that you sent me hundreds of emails. Never said that. Never said that. I made a general statement, which is true, and I stand by my statement. I have bent over backwards to help people. And the reward I get is people get pissed off at me because they're offended, because they didn't take the time to block the person in chat that offends them, and I'm the culprit? No, Jonathan, you dox yourself, my friend. I didn't say that about you. You're taking offense where no offense was laid. Take a deep breath, relax. No one's pointing fingers at you at all, at all. In fact, Jonathan, you don't even know I've defended you. I've received emails complaining about you. Yes, that's right. I received emails complaining about you and the size of your family, which are ridiculous. And I dismiss those people. People complaining, how can I get out when this guy gets to bring all his people out? And he's not even out for Connor. I dismiss nonsense like that from bigots. So I really take offense to the comment here when I've ignored and defended you to bigots who write to me, who I have no interest in being involved with. You just don't know what I've done to protect people. So if I take umbrage, that's another reason why I take umbrage. Carol Gina, I'm not having a bad day. Other people are having a bad day. I just got a little bent out of shape for a minute. And Jonathan Vitboy is not an asshole. No, he's overreacting to something that didn't happen. Not the K stuff, but me calling him out. I didn't call him out. You're welcome, Francois Creel. Creel, one of my favorite names, Jesse Creel. Francois Creel, lots of great rugby players. I have to wait for my cues in order to leave. Well, Jonathan, we know bad people if I've watched this chat. Okay, so, dude, I didn't call you out, man. I didn't call you out. I didn't even talk about you. Then you will be the one that suffers and that we worry about. Oh, well, thank you, John. Don't sweat it. I appreciate it. But Jonathan, don't take offense. And I wasn't calling you out, man. Lots of people. I mean, the ridiculous email I got from someone telling me, well, it's not fair. He's not even white. And he's got 1,000 people in his family. I'm embellishing, Jonathan, so I don't disclose how many people are in your family. I mean, because you mentioned it in chat and someone came and sent me an email. That's not fair. I'm like, shit, what are you talking about? The program isn't for white people. Stop it. Well, the 7,500. What if he sends all 1,000 of his family over? I'm like, what are you talking about? Are you high? Guys, you don't even know the crap that comes my way. I don't even discuss these things because it's not even worth time. The stupid stuff like that doesn't even deserve oxygen. But since this came up, that's why I'm mentioning it. Too many people can give them a farm in heaven and an angel for a neighbor. They'll never be satisfied. Marshall Eagle, do you have any advice on growing a beard like yours? Good genes. Good genes. I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, there's no beard oil. There's no heavy maintenance of it. It's just good genes. Last year's F1, both McLaren. I didn't see that. Oh, you're excited. You're excited because they're out. Alan McGonigal, why was South Africa willing to hand over an empty chair but not to respect a diplomat? Exactly. So South Africa, thank you, Alan. That is perfect. That is perfect. I'm going to make a video on that. You get credit for it, Alan. So we'll hand to an empty chair. We'll hand to empty chair, but not respected diplomat. Who is the protocol breaker? Rude one here. Wow. That's brilliant. Thank you for the 70 Rand, Alan. That was great. Okay, Multiplus. You're trying to be funny now there. That's not funny. When did you put that up? That was at 12:43. Well, you can't say, yeah. Anyway, guys, I can't block the letter K. I can't do that. Why do I always talk about South Africa? Well, KGSELD. I don't know what that means. KG something. Why do I always talk about South Africa? Well, why aren't you asking me why I always talk about America? Did you not watch the news program? The last half hour is devoted to America. Why did I talk about Nigeria today? Why did I talk about Ukraine today? Am I not allowed to talk about it I want to? I'm a historian, a political scientist, and an intelligence analyst. Can I not talk about what I want to talk about? What do you mean, why do I always talk about South Africa? I don't understand that question. Sloth Puppy says, honestly, I don't know how the Colonel puts up with such things. A better man than I. Well, thank you, Sloth Puppy. You're an OG. You've been here a long time. Where's the bugger off bunny? Ban the whole alphabet. Then I will take this live recording and take it to the State Department that Afrikaners can. See, you're just as bad as the person complaining about you, John. So you're going to condemn 2.8 million Afrikaners because some one jerk sent me a stupid message. Seriously? Come on, man. Be an adult here. That's not the response I expected. I would have expected, well, thanks, Colonel. Appreciate you defending me. But instead, you come back with that. Come on, man. Come on. Crickets. You are not making friends. Blaming 2.8 million people for something one person sent me in an email, which I kept to myself until you made a big deal about things. Exactly. What does someone's family size have to do with anything? So the people came over as one person like Thea. Does that mean someone gets a credit for the extra 3 bodies? A family of 4. So if Thea came over by herself, so does that mean someone gets an extra 3? I mean, it's just silly stuff. Oh, yeah. If I can't use the K, I can't say cockpot 24. Sumari says, you wasted your time on my long email about something weird. Thanks again for your humoring me. Well, I tried to answer as honestly as I could, Sumari. People don't realize, or they don't care. One of the two. I don't know which it is. How does Jericho people not understand the hierarchy of diplomacy? No ambassador charged with affairs being the highest position. They don't care. They're intentionally trying to create chaos. Yeah, that's what's going on. Oh, Jesse Reel, Cheslin Olby. James, oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, guys, I think that's enough. No, Jonathan, you're right about that. People take the screenshots, but again, I can't find that, and I can defend that. I can show you. I'll make a video, show you right there. It's been banned from the outset. If YouTube has failed to block it, then I can't control that. Yep. Anyway, thanks everybody. I've gone 20 minutes longer than I was supposed to for this, so I got to take off and go to the Veterans Organization so I can be back here to do the refugee chat. We'll be back for that, okay? Thanks. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done already. To anyone who's offended by the profanity, I will apologize for my use of profanity if it's a set, if you have kids there. But I have warned people many, many times that I, on a time to time, use profanity for effect. Does that make me uncouth and uneducated? Well, if that's what you think, then that's your prerogative to believe that. I'm very well educated, and I've moved in the most elite and sophisticated circles in the world, and also the lowest circles in the world. These things are in the language for a reason. Now, they're uncouth at times, and sometimes it's appropriate to be uncouth. So I will make the apology if people are offended by it, but I'm just going to caution you again that you need to be aware of that, okay? I know you need to be aware of that. And Marley Quinn, I took exception to Donald Trump calling a reporter piggy. I mean, I thought that was inappropriate. So we all say and do things that are inappropriate from time to time. Nobody's perfect. If you're offended by what people said and leave the channel, I'm sorry that you leave the channel. You have the ability to block their chat. You don't have to see anything they say. All right? If they said something inappropriate, my moderators would have removed them. My moderators are very reliable, very dependable, and I doubt that they let us down here. So again, I went back 30 minutes and I couldn't find any instance of that. If someone's using the letter K, if it's inappropriate in the structure of a sentence, then my moderators have the ability to remove that if they think it's inappropriate. Okay. But someone complaining that they were blocked 3 times for using a D word, that's not necessarily inappropriate. Anyway, so I don't know what to say beyond that, other than it's unfortunate that people feel they need to leave the channel, and also again, as a few of you have alluded to in the chat here, people have no idea, the things I've gone to, the lengths I've gone to, the things I've done for people, the constant dozens and dozens of daily demands and requests I get from people, and I try to address them all as possible. And someone saying that my chat is not a reflection of me, because, here's the thing. Someone can put that in the chat, and it can be up for 10 seconds. It takes longer than that to do a screenshot. Okay? I mean, it takes longer than that to take it out, not take a screen. It takes longer for someone to react to that and remove it. So if people are taking screenshots, then that's just on them. I really can't help that. All right? Okay. Well, I used the A word snippets. It is very ugly. I used it earlier. I used it in this chat when people pissed me off. But again, I got upset because one of my viewers, who I've gone to great lengths to respect and treat fairly, in a time when people were not treating people fairly, and bent over backwards and thought I had a good relationship with that person, left my channel and blame me for it. And that's not my fault. I can take responsibility and blame for my words, my choice of language. That's on me. That's my doing. I can take responsibility for that. But I can't take responsibility for someone being upset about something that they have the ability to stop and blaming me for it. Okay? All right, guys. Have a good one. I'll be back in about an hour. I'll be back in an hour. You're welcome. You guys take care. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the viewership. Almost 7,000 watched this. Yeah, I was only going to go for an hour and a half, went for an hour, almost add extra 20 minutes in here because of this. All right, can I mail you about something really odd about my kid? You may, Quids, of course, please do. I'll try to get to it. That's all I can promise, okay? Tomorrow's Night Owls. There'll be a Night Owls, yeah, but there'll also be the refugee chat coming up in a little over an hour if you guys want to tune in for that, okay? Thank you. I'm grateful. I hope you all like my hat. I think it's pretty cool. 250 years, 1776 to 2026, the 250th anniversary of the United States. We got you beat, South Africa. But Italy doesn't have us beat. They've been around a lot longer. All right. Cheers. And we'll see you guys hopefully in a little bit. All right. Where the heck is my... There it is.